Hey there, Jen Patero here on Sunday, September the 11th. 9 weeks left. 9 weeks until I hit the UFE world stage. And I'm prepping for this show, this competition, utilizing a ketogenic diet, of course. And so for today, wanted to give, of course, a little bit of an update as to where my macros sit, how my weight is trending, how it trended this past week, but also wanted to dive into some of the changes that I have made with respect to my activity level, my cardio, as well as my weight training, because I have learned so much over the course of the last few years as I prepped for my first show, as I reverse dieted out and went through my building phase, and now as I cut down into this next show. I have learned a lot. So first off, with respect to my weight training, my first go and my first prep last year, I made sure that every week I was progressively overloading, right? So each week I made sure that I was lifting more than I lifted the week before. So the idea, of course, being that as your calories decline as you're in a prep, your weight training, your daily activity should increase, right? It's an inverse relationship. So that is what I did. Every week I made sure I did more than I did the week before. I lifted a little bit more. But throughout the course of that prep, I didn't really get too terribly sore. I did what I needed to do to make sure I did more than last week, but I certainly wasn't pushing to exhaustion. So that was fine. Everything panned out well. I hit the stage and had a decent amount of muscle. But then I hit my building phase. And for me, this was my first true building phase, like as a bodybuilder. Prior to my first show, I had done Orange Theory Fitness and I had done Beachbody programming, but I had never truly lifted as a bodybuilder. And that is what I did this time. I pushed weight to the max. Everything pretty well was done to failure. I was lifting it and exhausting a muscle group, and then I would switch up the activity based on my programming from Mel at RamFit Training, who is incredible and I love her. So I'd exhaust a muscle group and then I would push to failure. Like I was really striving to break down my muscle, tear it up, and then rebuild and grow muscle. And I think that taught me a lot. I think I was able to grow muscle. I build a little bit during that phase. But it's taught me that through this prep, that's sort of the way that I have been functioning, right? I continue to progressively overload, continue to progressively do more this week than I did last. But in doing so, I'm doing a lot more to failure type activities, and my body is certainly feeling it this go around. Now, I can't help but wonder in my head, am I doing too much? Am I tearing up my muscles too much? And now that I'm at such a caloric deficit, I'm not providing enough of the nutrients and the protein and the amino acids to rebuild that muscle. And I'm really trying to prioritize maintaining as much muscle as I possibly can. So to help combat that a little bit, I have started to take more essential amino acids and just really work to maintain as much muscle as I possibly can. And then the other thing from a nutritional perspective, my macros have shifted as we've talked about, and I will highlight again here shortly. But so the nutrition, I'm trying, to eat as much protein, of course, as possible. And then cardio. I am trying to do, or I have tried up until now to do the minimal amount of cardio possible. I want to maintain good heart health. I want to maintain good cardiovascular health, but I certainly don't want to overdo it. And I historically have always overdone cardio. I love it. It makes me feel good, that HIIT training. The jogging, running is very therapeutic for me. So it's been a struggle to shift and cut all of that out. All I've been doing is sticking very strategically to walking on an incline. And then when I was able to buy a step mill, I do a stepper every day, but only 20 minutes. Like, I do not do more than is sort of prescribed to me by both Robert Sykes, my nutritional coach, and Mel Ramfit Training, my fitness coach. And so it's been hard for me mentally to do that. I feel as though the scale has reflected it, and that's part of the reason my nutrition and things are looking different this prep than last, because last prep I was doing so much more cardio. This time I have really, really scaled back. But I did learn last go around, especially when my nutrition was so depleted, right, as I got ready for the show, the impact of even adding an extra hike, a short hike with a girlfriend into my day would really change my energy levels. Adding in 30 minutes of a dance routine with Beachbody really impacted my energy levels. So I know that it doesn't take much to get your body into a fat burning cardiovascular state. You do not need to be giving her like Mach 90 on the treadmill to burn fat. That's actually that's a different kind of stressor on your body, and it's not optimal for fat burning. And the risk there is that you're actually going to lose more muscle mass. So I've been really focused on that this go around, cutting back on my cardio significantly to maintain as much muscle mass as possible, and really pushing in the gym to build as much muscle. When I'm in a caloric surplus, when I was in a building phase, and even as I started this prep and was consuming still a significant amount of calories and high protein, really wanting to push the limits with my weight training to build and then even maintain that muscle, because I know too that as my calories start to decline, if I am not pushing my muscles, if my body doesn't see a need to maintain the muscle mass, then it will start to lose some of that muscle, right? If you don't use it, you lose it. And so really pushing myself in the gym with the weights and really decreased that cardio. And I think as a result of that, I have noticed a lot of shifts and changes this go around. And I'm feeling I'm at a point right now where, I continue to progressively push and do more this week than I did last with my weights, but I'm not as focused on the build and the to failure type movements. I'm just looking to do more than I did last week to maintain as much muscle. I'm not looking to tear the heck out of the muscle to rebuild and grow. So it's just interesting as I go through the cycles and I'm learning and testing things out, and the shifts that I'm making with respect to both cardio and weight training. So kind of cool for me anyways, as I learn so much as I go here. So if you ever have any questions or, want to chat about any of this or have any suggestions for me, I'm totally welcome. I love that too. I love to learn and grow and get better. And I really do think that we can learn from each other. So that's it for the weight training and the cardio updates. Lastly, before we hit the 10-minute mark here, just want to give an update as far as my weight goes. So last Sunday, I was 133.8 pounds. This morning, I was 131.8. So I've dropped 2 pounds, which is a good thing. and I'm hoping it's primarily fat. I'm not losing muscle. But again, I mentioned I am using an in-body scan, so I am able to track both my fat loss and my skeletal muscle mass, and we'll chat about that another day, but I think I'm really burning and losing some fat right now. Macros, last week, 110 grams of fat, 120 grams of protein, 10 grams of carbs. This week we are shifting, dropping both fat and protein, but I'm only dropping my fat by 5 grams, going to 105 grams, dropping protein by 10, going to 110 grams of protein, 10 grams of carbs, which is interesting. Again, my protein is still higher than my fat, which is good to maintain as much muscle as possible, but also important to shift that and make sure there's not gluconeogenesis and all this other wonderful thing going on. So we're dropping the protein a little bit more than we're dropping the fat. So we will see how this goes this week. I will most certainly update you next week. Have a fantastic week, and we will chat soon. Take care. Bye for now.